everybody. You are looking live at Sold Out MetLife Stadium, where today the 16-0 and playoff-bound New York Giants will be taking on the 0-16 Buffalo Bills. And why are the Buffalo Bills 0-16? Because they suck. Welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there at all is going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. Thank you. I'm going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight. Shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free. Fire away. Go in the chat box. I usually try to check on the chat box like every 5 or 10 minutes or so. So as soon as I see something in there, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. So please feel free. Fire away. Plus, also, instead of me just rambling on for half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever it might wind up being, it's just nice to talk to another Giant fan. So please feel free and fire away. Before we get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. In the description box below, the top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon. Second membership level I got is called the Lawrence Taylor. And the third membership level I got is called the Gridiron. Each one has their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. I thank you in advance. Thank you. If you are subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you. I can use all the support I can get, guys. But if not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live or I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. And then finally, in the description box, there's 3 links. The top link takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants Gridiron. The second one is my Twitter account. To me, it's Twitter. It has been Twitter. It'll always be Twitter. It is Twitter right now. Whatever letter of the alphabet Elon Musk wants to call it this week, it means no concern to me at all. To me, it's Twitter. All right. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm going to follow you back. That's a promise, right? Then the bottom link is I got a TikTok. I put some videos on TikTok. If you want to follow me or check me out on TikTok, that'd be absolutely fantastic. But as I was saying, the top link takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants Gridiron. We have over 6,800 members in the group. It's growing. It's doing very, very well. I put stuff in there every day. Basically, if I am alive and breathing, and if I got internet access, there's stuff going in there. And not only that, if you become a member of the group, members post stuff in there as well. So between me and the members, there's a ton of New York Giants information going in the group, the New York Giants Gridiron, every day, 7 days a week. Darn it, 365. Right, all that stuff said and done and that away with. Well, injuries. Man, gotta love it, huh? Well, some of them, I guess, this guy's, injured, but they are participating. But, once again, you still got some of these guys that unfortunately are still being, held out and all and everything. But unfortunately, it's a lot of the guys are, which is really, it's almost like the perfect storm. You know what I mean? And I mean, absolutely, I don't want anybody, I don't ever want anybody ever getting injured, even a freaking toenail, ingrown toenail, nothing, absolutely, even the Eagle players, absolutely nothing, right? But it's like there's no team in the NFL. I really have a hard time. I mean, especially with the offensive line, the way, we literally had like 2 practice squad guys on the offensive line last week. This week will probably be at maybe our 5th or 6th starting offensive line, right? The 5 that we have in, it's unbelievable. Most any team would have a hard time, period, doing what the Giants are doing, especially with their offensive line. It's just simply amazing. Of course, then we got Daniel Jones as well too. His neck is sore. He's talking about his neck. there's a little conflicting there because they talked to Dable and then they talked to Daniel Jones, and Daniel Jones kind of says one thing and Brian Dable says something else, and of course everybody in the media is making something huge out of it. They talked to Dable, and he said that Dan Jones will be out. His neck is more sore today than it has been, more sore. Then of course, the reporters go and they ask Daniel Jones, "How's your neck doing? How's your neck doing?" He said, "Oh, it's doing better. It's a little bit better today than it was yesterday." So he's saying something different than Dable is, and of course, then they blow everything out of proportion and everything like that. But his neck is sore. He said he's been feeling better. Oh, I gotta get my dogs here. Come on in, Randy. All right, Randy's here. But he was held out of practice. Daniel Jones, Brian Dable, who on Monday had been optimistic about Jones's availability for Sunday night's game against the Bills, said that Jones was a little sore when he reported for work on Wednesday than he had been earlier in the week. But he declined to provide any specific. Of course, the reporters asked him like 312,000 different ways, basically about the same kind of question, trying to pry out like what's wrong with the neck. And Dable says the same thing 7 trillion times, when basically 90% of the his time with the press there and all of that, basically just trying to answer the same question, trying to be respectful. I'm not going to divulge or whatever you were saying, about the extent of the injury or what it is and all that. And then the next reporter would ask him about the same thing. So I understand the question, but I'm not going to divulge and this and that. So then the next person asks him the same thing. Yeah, I respect the question, but I'm not going to. It's absolutely amazing. He said he's day to day. I mean, the thing is you really feel bad for the guy because a couple of years ago, he had the injury, cost him last 6 games of the season. That was the last year, the Judge debacle. That's when we had Jake from Snake Farm in there, Mike Glennon. Oh my God, right? Then of course now the Daniel Jones hurt his neck again. And there's a couple of things you really don't want to mess around with, right? I mean, it's one thing if you maybe hurt your shoulder, even your Achilles, your ACL, whatever. Okay, you get injured. Okay, you can survive with that stuff, whatever, But there's a couple of things you really don't want to be messing around with. One is concussions, your brain. Not messing around with that. And the other thing is the neck. And you got a lot of nerves and stuff running up through your spine, all that, and everything like that. That's something you may not really want to mess with either. So hopefully it doesn't want to become where it becomes a career-ending type of thing. It's you're almost like. Every time you're putting anybody out there, quarterback, anybody, I mean, you just feed them to the wolves, basically, right? I mean, what you're doing is you're taking a human body and you're cutting them, and the blood's just dripping out of their body, and you just lower them slowly into the ocean, and you give it maybe about 20 seconds. And you see how many sharks come, circling around the body that's bleeding, right? I mean, that's what you're basically doing. Every time you put somebody out there behind a line of scrimmage, it's just absolutely unbelievable. It really would be nice if something can go right for the Giants this year. Maybe, I guess I couldn't. The Giants had a super spectacular comeback against the Cardinals, so I guess maybe I shouldn't talk. But, it would be nice if maybe something else positive happened to the Giants at this point. It's absolutely amazing. Really is amazing. We can't even do a tush push without getting 2 guys injured. We do a tush push and Bellinger and Michael Schmidt's got to walk out of the game. It's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. It says the Giants' offensive line depth already on shaky ground took a further hit. Shocker there. Huh? Besides Left tackle Andrew Thomas being on his way to missing his 5th straight game with a hamstring strain suffered in week 1. John Michael Schmitz with the shoulder, interior offensive line Shane Lemieux, and offensive line Matt Parrott were all kept out of Wednesday's practice. But then also McKeithen too. He's got an injury problem there too. But Thomas, who last tried to practice 2 weeks ago before realizing that his hamstring still wasn't quite right, has been a huge loss for the Giants' offensive line. Yep. Team has plugged Joshua Zudu in for Thomas, but the second-year player has had some rough sledding, particularly in the pass blocking department. Yep. And we're going to go, the Giants added Cajuste, right? And they're bringing in La'el Collins in. We're going to go over him. Let's see here. So he was in today. He was in apparently after practice. They worked out Collins. So see the bleak health look on offense. Running back Saquon Barkley will continue to do more work in team drills as he inches closer to a return from his high ankle sprain suffered at the end of the week 2 game against the Cardinals. Barkley was limited all last week, but had no setbacks as the team continued to increase his workload each week, hoping to have him back for Sunday's game at Buffalo. Tight end Darren Waller with a groin is back on injury report for the first time since week 1, when he was listed with a hamstring strain. Daboll, who at the time said they had planned for Waller to have veteran days rest as needed, said the tight end is day-to-day. And, of course, we got among the other Giants who won't practice on Wednesday, according to Daboll, is Micah McFadden, Azeez Ojulari. I just can't even talk some of these guys. It's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing how they came and play a game of football. And I understand it's contact and blah, 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 all that stuff. But how come some guys like Dexter Lawrence, can get double teamed on every play, right? He's pushing and they're banging him and shoving. He's jumping into piles and this, that, and the other thing. And he plays 40, 50 snaps, whatever it is. And you never see him on the injury report. Then you get other guys who are on the field for 20, 30 snaps or whatever, like maybe one game, and then they come off the field and they got something wrong. It's absolutely amazing. Let's see here. Wan'Dale Robinson with his knee. Jones, Robinson, Waller, Thomas, Schmitz, Parrott, and Ojulari were not present at the start of Wednesday's practice and were presumably inside receiving treatment. McFadden was on the field but didn't do anything during the part open to the media. Barkley didn't do any drills during the part of practice open to the media. Now, okay, we got the injury report. There's 14 guys now. Of course, Daniel Jones with his neck, Micah McFadden with his ankle, Azeez Ojulari with his ankle, Matt Parrott with his shoulder, Wan'Dale Robinson with a knee, Michael Schmitz with the shoulder, Andrew Thomas with his hamstring, and Waller with the groin. And then limited in practice was Deonte Banks with an ankle. Man, what do we got? What do we got here? It's like the week of the ankles here. McFadden's got an ankle, Ojulari's got an ankle, Banks has got an ankle, Barkley's got an ankle, Brightwell's got an ankle, and Cordell Flott's got an ankle. We only got 6 guys with ankles. So the guys were limited. It was Banks, Barkley. Wow, we got the killer bees there. Banks, Barkley, and Brightwell, all with ankles. Cordell Flott's got an ankle, Shane Lemieux's got a groin, and Marcus McKeithen's got a knee. So we have, let's count. How many offensive linemen do we have on the injury report here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pretty good. Basically, we have an entire offensive line on the injury report. Absolutely freaking amazing. Now, just wondering, now, if the Giants, now, if they obviously, many people are looking at the Giants quite possibly to be, 1-5 after Buffalo. I mean, Buffalo, I think they lead the league in turnovers, I think, with 13. Defense. They lead the league, I think, in sacks with 21. Of course, the Giants lead the league in sacks, giving up sacks. I think it was like 30. The Bills score a lot. They got some injuries as well. So, I mean, a lot of people obviously are kind of, I understand now the Giants, you know, they may not have Saquon. We're not going to have Andrew Thomas. We may not have Daniel Jones. You know, so, you know, a lot of people ain't going to so much give the Giants much of a chance in this one. I'm going to be one of them. You know, any given Sunday, Monday, whatever you want to call it, anything can happen. That's why you play the games, right? But, I mean, for the most part, if we want to be realistic here, the Giants probably don't have much. Probably, anyway, the 14-point underdogs on the road, this, that, and the other thing. You know, so we're looking at 1-5. Now, the Giants do have some easier games coming up, right? We got the Commanders, we got the Jets, right? So, we got some easier games coming up now. But the thing is like, you know, are the Giants going to be sellers before the trade deadline? Now, I mean, you know, one thing is, I mean, you know, when you start looking at what Shane's been kind of doing, you know, he's bringing guys in, right? The problem, of course, is, you know, it's out of your control. You can bring in 7,000 offensive linemen. Well, guess what? If every play another offensive lineman gets injured, guess what? You're screwed, right? And there's nothing you can do about it. You can say we work on soft tissue injuries, we do that. If it's your turn to get screwed, guess what? You're getting screwed, right? I mean, these injuries, it's absolutely unbelievable. So a lot of people say, should the Giants be sellers? Or, you know, because they do have quite a few guys on the that aren't going to be quite possibly may not be around next season, quite possibly. So the Giants try to get rid of some of these guys and try to get whatever they can for them if they can. I mean, obviously they're not going to be going to be getting rid of six guys or so, but I mean, Shane's still trying. Right. Of course, they're still coaching and all of that. Something that got brought up today too, you know, was if on Big Blue Kickoff Live. I try to check them out Monday through Friday because those guys there, Paul Dottino, Schmeltz, John Schmelk or Schmeltz, one of those, and Lance Meadows, Howard Cross, Jonathan Casillas. I mean, those guys they're there every day. They follow the Giants and all that. So they do a really, really good job. So they got a podcast, but I usually check them out on YouTube after the podcast is over. So usually they upload it on YouTube like around 4:00 or so in the afternoons. Monday through Friday, they have an hour-long show. So basically they talk and then they take calls and all that and everything. And what I was listening to today makes a lot of sense. You know, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, take it for whatever you want, but you know they were talking about should the Giants be sellers before the trade deadline. You know they got some assets. You know some of these guys probably ain't going to be around next year. Do we try to get rid of them, or at least get rid of a couple of them, and maybe at least get a 7th rounder for Leonard Williams if we can? Or I'm just throwing guys out there. Get a 7th, 6th rounder or whatever for Adoree Jackson if you can. But they also brought up a good point too, and obviously the way things have been going with the Giants, it's really, really hard to, do a 360 here and say, yeah, she tell me we got a chance, right? Yeah. But they did bring up a good point. They mentioned that last season with the Detroit Lions, right? I think they were 2-6 at one point, I think it was, and they wound up, was it 9-8? Or whatever, and they came in here, at basically the second half of the season, they just started kicking butt. They kicked the Giants' butt, right? 31-18. So the Lions were 2-6. They didn't sell them more, they didn't sell the farm or not like that. Of course, that's that doesn't happen all the time. They go from 2-6 to 9-8. You know what I mean? Right. It does happen. Right. I mentioned this one time in a video, I don't know, a week or so ago. And I said, once again, I'm not saying the Giants is going to happen to the Giants, but I said that the first year of the merger, 1970, right? The Cincinnati Bengals started 1-6. Not only did they make the playoffs, but they won their division. They won their last 7. Back then, they only played 14 games. So the Bengals went from 1-6 to 8-6. They didn't have a very good division. I think the Browns were in second place that season with the record of 7-7. But the Bengals, they won their last 7 games. Not saying the Giants are going to do that, especially because the Giants have to play the Eagles 2 times. But it does happen. And as I said, Shane's bringing guys in. Sometimes, the part of the problem is he's going to have to start writing checks on, we might have to start touching some people's salaries and stuff for maybe, or maybe pushing some money into the future or whatever, because we don't have a lot of salary cap space. Now, if you bring in La'el Collins, he signed, I think it was, this was with the Bengals. I think it was a 3-year, $7 million contract. So, obviously, if we were to sign him for this season, I'd have a hard time believing he's going to take a veteran's minimum, especially for what? I don't know, what we got, the last, 11 games or so of the season. I'd have, he's going to cost you a little bit of money. We just brought Cajuste in. We might need to bring another quarterback in, which I'm going to go over in just a minute or a couple minutes here or whatever, So we might, somewhere along the line, we might have to start robbing Peter to pay Paul or down the road. So we might have to start touching some guys' salaries and stuff like that, which I'm sure Shane doesn't. But he's bringing guys in, right? There's not a ton of great, phenomenal offensive linemen out there. They're just not walking the streets. I guess I'm sure they're scouring people's practice squads. And if there was anybody that phenomenal out there, I'm sure they would have maybe went and got him. They were also talking on the show today about trading for an offensive lineman. I said, once again, one of the problems of that is now you have to trade your draft picks. But, if you get somebody that comes in that can maybe do that good of a job, they're going to cost money. Once again, the Giants don't have that much money. So the Giants are kind of, they're kind of stuck in a little bit of a quandary here, shall we? But so they did bring in, obviously, a couple other guys. But they say the one thing is, should the Giants be sellers? Now, it says here in this article, this is from the New York Post. Should the Giants set up the for sale sign? But an unexpected 1-4 start during which they have a league worst minus 91 point differential. Minus 91 point differential. And that's in 5 games. That's just unbelievable. What was it? 18 points a game. Plus a game as 14-point underdogs against the Bills on tap has changed the outlook of the season. The Giants' best move could be to join the list of sellers before the October 31st, the Halloween trade deadline. General Manager Joe Schoen resisted the urge to buy at last year's deadline. Will he resist the call to sell and add draft picks for a deeper rebuild in 2024? And they got here's a list of 6 candidates with expiring contracts if the Giants decide to hold out hope of a second half bounce back. As I said, regardless, you knew going into the season that, this initial stretch here, especially, the Dolphins were just, I don't know if anybody really saw the Dolphins. You maybe look at them, well, if Tua stays healthy, that's not a bad offense. They'll probably put up some points. Nobody knew they were going to be putting up 70 points against the Broncos or averaging well over 30 points. I don't think anybody thought that, But, we playing the Bills, right? Obviously, and you got the Dolphins, but then we played the 49ers. You knew that was going to be tough. We're playing the Cowboys. We haven't beat the Cowboys since Jesus Christ walked the earth. You knew that was going to be a tough one. So we got, we had some tough games. And of course, Seattle was going to be a tough one. That's certainly that. At the beginning of the season, didn't look at the Seattle game at home. Oh, that's a loss. Not many people did that, but you knew it was going to be a tough game. regardless. So, there's a good chance in the Giants in the beginning we're going to have a kind of maybe quite possibly a crappy record, a losing record. But, so as I said, the second half, I know they got obviously the Jets, they got the Commanders. There we go. All right. Yeah, we got the Commanders, we got the Jets, we got the Raiders, then we got the Cowboys, then you got the Commanders again, then you got the Patriots, and then the Packers, and then the Saints, right? So, once again, I don't want to start getting all stock wild crazy and everything, but right, the Jets, they're having their problems. I mean, they did give the Chiefs a good run for the money. Regardless, it doesn't matter. This is going to be a tough game, real tough game with the Jets. The Jets ain't going to just just come walking into this game and just let you just roll all over them or whatever. So that's going to be a tough game, but they don't have Aaron Rodgers, so their offense is it certainly has been affected by that. Then I said, I'm sorry. Before that, we also have the Commanders. So these are back-to-back home games, although if you want to call the Giant-Jet game, we got a home game against the Jets, okay, whatever. There's going to be Jet fans there. But we got the Commanders at home. That's a winnable game, Then we got the Raiders on the road. Raiders are not a phenomenal team. Then we got the Cowboys. Then we got the Commanders again. Then we got the Patriots. Then we got the Packers, and then we got the Saints. And then in between there, also between the two games with the Eagles, we got the Rams as well, too. So there are some winnable games in there. I certainly don't want to say the Giants are going to wind up running the table and, we're going to win all of it. I'm not going to say that. But, there is the opportunity there certainly to win some games in the second half of the season. Right now, if we go 1-5, that's – because you look at it like we lost to the Seahawks. They'll be right in there for a wild card, right? So they got the head-to-head on us there. We lost to the Cowboys. They'll probably be battling for a wild card, right? They got the head-to-head on it, we got the 49ers. I don't think they'll be looking for a wild card, but so we're behind the eight ball against a couple of teams in the NFC East anyway. So are the Giants going to be able to win enough games in that second half? Out of what? So if we're 1-5, what else? Out of the final 11 games. Or let's not forget, we got to play 2 games against the Eagles and 1 against the Cowboys. So there's 3 very, very difficult wins right there. If we can win one of those, that would be absolutely fantastic. But, we lost 40-0 to the Cowboys week 1. And I said the Eagles are going to be very, very difficult. So if we have 11 games to go, do you see us winning like 7 games out of those last 11? And if we win 7, if we even go 7-4 in the last 11, that would give us 8 wins. That's not going to make the playoffs. 8-9. So the Giants, they got some in this article here. There's 6 guys that they're talking about as far as quite possibly. Now, of course, one of them is Adoree Jackson. Now, of course, once again, you don't know what Shane and Dable and all that, what they have for the future. They got a good idea as far as what they want to do with Adoree Jackson, with Leonard Williams, Saquon Barkley, Xavier McKinney, Leonard. Let's see who else. Ben Bredesen. I'm not sure why they would want to move on from him. He's one of the few guys who does a decent job. They got Paris Campbell. They got in here as well too. So there are some guys here that aren't going to be around next season. Now, do the Giants want to try to get rid of them and try to get something in return? It says, especially, maybe Adoree Jackson. Money owed. He's owed $8.7 million, including a roster bonus. Wow. It says Pro Football Focus positional ranking. They rank Adoree Jackson 105 out of 109 cornerbacks. Wow. Jackson said in August that his agent and the team discussed a possible extension, but circumstances have changed since then. He has never been a ball hawk. Nope. 1 interception his last 28 games, but don't undersell the value of his shadowing number one receivers in the slot or on the perimeter. Jackson's absence would mean starting rookies Deonte Banks and Trey Hawkins with second-year pro Cordell Flott. With the secondary function without Jackson. Ooh. Think about the pre-snap confusion on the Dolphins. Tyreek Hill, 69. Oh, my God. Oh, my goodness. Xavier McKinney, they said his money he is owed, I guess, for the rest of the season, I guess, would be $1.26 million. Positional ranking, PFF. All going by PFF. Ranks him 30th out of 86. He said it's bad practice utilizing the Giants for a decade not to re-sign first and second round draft picks. Shane put a stop to it with the extensions of Daniel Jones, Dexter Lawrence, and Andrew Thomas. But the timing wasn't right for McKinney coming off an injury-plagued season and looking to up his value by duplicating his breakout 2021 season with 5 interceptions. But, you know, I mean, he's not been – I don't know. I mean, can you see it so far, his performance this year? Can you see him, what he's done so far this year? Has he been like a difference maker in these games so far? Can you warrant giving him like $10 million a season? It's a tough one. It says Shane and McKinney, who is as irritated by losing as anyone in the locker room, agreed to put off extension talks until after the season. But it might be worth checking in on asking price because his newly hired agent is known for seeking market resets for defensive backs. Wow. I don't think they're going to be resetting no market with Xavier McKinney. Then we got Leonard Williams, money owed, $13 million. His PFF rank was 18th out of 124. Shane made the right move, not restructuring Williams' contract, just basically because his contract this season is just kind of leaving it alone, right? And then quite possibly, he won't be around next year, but we don't want to be taking any of that money that he's owed this year, $32.2 million, and take some of that and throw it on next season because he may not be around. Probably won't be around. William often speaks of loving New York and wanting to play alongside Dexter Lawrence for as long as possible, but he hasn't taken less than top dollar for the Giants in 2 agonizing negotiations. So re-signing him here seems unlikely. I mean, somebody's going to sign him, but I mean, what are you going to give to him? All right, he's 29. He'll be 30 years old next year. He played in a lot of snaps. His best years are behind him. Is he serviceable? Absolutely, of course. But is he worth 10, 12, $15 million a season? Are the Giants going to want to pay him that? Says Williams has 9.5 sacks in 34 games since his career best 11.5 sack season. So when he had that the contract season a few years ago, and he had that 11.5 sack season. I mean, right? Since then, in 34 games, he's had 9.5 sacks. He's best against the run, but defensive tackle is the roster's deepest position. Would the Giants pay some of Williams' salary like the Chargers recently did when dealing J.C. Jackson to the Patriots to get a better return? Well, that might pay some of his second. If you can get rid of him, we'll pay some of his salary. So instead of you giving us a 7th, we'll take a 6th or whatever. Instead of you giving us a 6, we'll pay for some of his salary. You give us a 5th rounder for him in return. Now we have here, if not, maybe Ashawn Robinson, who is owed $1.9 million, entices a defensive looking to beef up. And we got Saquon Barkley. His salary owed is $5.84 million. His positional ranking is 16th out of 53. Of course, he's only 26 years old. The cost of acquiring team was lowered by when Barkley $10.1 million franchise tag salary was restructured to $2 million signing bonus, $8.1 million salary, and $909,000 in now pretty much unreachable incentives because he has missed so much time, because he's missed the last 3 games with a high ankle sprain, and he may not even play this week either. Barkley's future is uncertain after he rejected a 3-year, $33 million with about $22 million guaranteed in July. The sides technically can't renegotiate until after the season, so there is no word on how the Colts' Jonathan Taylor's 3-year, $42 million extension on Barkley's fourth injury-shortened season impacted his asking price. Now, with Barkley, I mean, you can see, right? You can look and you can see it's like with him not in the lineup, right? You can see, it's affecting, the Giants' play without question. So there's that aspect of it. So as you look at it, it's like, well, I don't know, man. Our offense sucks now, right? We have no running game. The linebackers and all that, they're not worried about a running game. They're not worried about play action, nothing like that. If Saquon was back there, we might be talking a little different story, right? So you can certainly see his value without question. But once again, we're also seeing, Saquon, injuries, right? So you can see his value to the team with him in the lineup and without him in the lineup. And then you can also see, the injuries. So that's going to be a tough one. He'll be playing someplace next season. I don't know if it'll be here or not, but that's a tough one. Then they got, let's see here. Let's see. He is not only the face of the team. The Giants can't score 21 total offensive points or run the ball. They only got 2.47 yards per carry without him, and that's taking Daniel Jones out of the equation. I think it is 2.5 yards a carry. And of course, we don't have an offensive line, so that kind of helps that too. But in there, they got Ben Bredeson. I don't know why you would want to get rid of one of your. I mean, the Ben Bredeson. He gets injured too. He gets injured, but he's certainly a very serviceable guard, and he can play center in the pinch. His salary is not, extraordinary, so he's only 25 years old. I don't know why they would want to try to get rid of Ben Bredeson. I don't know why you would want to get rid of him. He's only 25. He doesn't cost a lot of money. He's a decent offensive lineman for you. Why you would want to get rid of him and pick up a 7th round pick? You're going to get a better offensive lineman in the 7th round than you are for Ben Bredeson. I don't know about that one. Then they have Paris Campbell here. Money owed, $2.7 million, including his roster bonus. Seemed that the only risk in renting Campbell for 1 year was his extensive injury history, but he has stayed healthy and still only produced 16 catches for 85 yards for the Giants so far this year. More than half of Campbell's money owed is tied into incentives that seem mostly out of reach. So he could be a similarly skilled trade alternative to the Jets' Mecole Hardman. So, I mean, maybe they can try to get rid of Paris Campbell. I mean, especially if Cole Beasley's coming back, right? I mean, and once again, if we can keep Sterling Shepard healthy, if Wan'Dale Robinson with his knee, right? But if we get Cole Beasley, if he can stay healthy, we got some guys in the slot. I'm starting to get, I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I'm seeing like Paris Campbell come like on like some kind of like a jet sweep or whatever it is or whatever, and Daniel Jones has to throw the ball and dump it off to him. He's like a yard down the field. He catches the ball and he gains another yard. I mean, he picks up like 2 yards. I'm starting to get a little sick and tired of seeing that. But sometimes that might be the only plays you have, because since Daniel Jones gets the ball from the center, he's got 13 guys on top of him. So those might be the only plays that you can run. But if we got Cole Beasley coming back, how many slot receivers do you need? Right? Not only that, but how many can you dress? You can't, you're not going to dress 4 slot receivers. Right? So maybe you could get rid of Paris Campbell. don't know. I just hate bringing a good quality player and just it's just a shame because you can't, especially with the speed, you can't, you see all these other teams, getting the most out of these speed demons that they have. And we got this guy who's fast and we just can't use him. It's such a shame. Such a shame. All right. Let's see now. There's this one here. Could there be another Barkley? And I don't mean Saquon. Once again, you got to excuse me. I got 37,000 tabs open up here. So there's, let's see here. So Daniel Jones, right? If he can't play, so now we're going to have Tyrod Taylor. I love Tyrod. Tyrod could be on my team anytime. I'm not saying he'll take us to the promised land. I'm not saying, this, that, and other. But, he's a good quality backup. I mean, I'll take him any day over Jake from State Farm, Mike Lennon, right? Some of those guys we've had in the past. I'll take Tyrod Taylor any day, right? His problem, okay, is injuries, just like Daniel Jones. I mean, you'd say, it wasn't his fault, basically, when he got the wind knocked out of him because we have no offensive line. Basically, as soon as Daniel Jones went out, right, almost right off the bat, Tyrod Taylor landed on the football, I think got the wind knocked out of him, right? But he's susceptible to injuries as well, too. So now might quite possibly enter DeVito, right? I would love to see him out there. His problem, once again, not his problem, or it would become his problem, is we have no offensive line. So now you're putting a guy out there with basically no NFL experience during the regular season, right? Who I'm very anxious to see what he can do if we can keep him clean in the pocket and give him some good targets, some good guys to run around. I mean, he did rather well in the preseason, although it seemed like half the time he was ducking and dodging, dive, dodge, dip, and dodge, or whatever it is. The 5 Ds of dodgeball: dodge, dive, dip, duck, and dodge. That's all he was doing, because as soon as he got the ball, it seemed like half the defense was in the backfield trying to rip his head off. And then, of course, he's trying to throw the ball to like the third string wide receiver. So it would be nice to see if we could actually keep him clean, right? Because he was running around and he would be looking, right? He's basically running for his life, but he was going through his progression, right? He's maybe over here and over there, and then he hits it, boom, right? You get the ball, it's like, oh my God, there's 13 guys in the backfield. Let me run out of here for my life. So he's running around, but he would at least look for a couple different guys, right? It'd be nice to see what he could do, right? Of course, he's also going up against second and third stringers in the preseason too. But I mean, I would love to see, what he could do if we could keep him clean and give him some good receivers. But I mean, if Daniel Jones is going to be out for maybe an extended period of time, I did see this article here. There's another Barkley out there who has some, can be associated with Shane and Dable, right? And Matt Barkley has been. I know he was, he's back in the teens. He got drafted. I didn't realize he was. I think it was 2013. I got him up here somewhere. I didn't know he was drafted that long ago. 2013. Yeah, I mean, let's see. Obviously from USC, 4th rounder in 2013 NFL draft. So I mean, he hasn't really played in a game, NFL game, looks like, since 2020. And how old was he? 33 now? What is he? 33, 34? So he's up there. He's 33. Just turned 33. Yeah, okay. But I mean, he hasn't played in a game. It looks like he was in Buffalo. He was in Buffalo what? Well, he played in Buffalo 2018, 19, and 20. 2020 was the last year that he had some stats. He played in 5 games. Nothing super spectacular. I mean, he completes 58% of his passes. Yeah, he's got 11 career touchdowns, 22 career interceptions. But There's familiarity there, right? Let's see. Obviously with Shane and Dable. Now let's see. During the 2020 season, right? And after that, in 2021, he was signed the 2-year contract with the Tennessee Titans. He was released on September 1st, 2021, and re-signed to the practice squad. So basically, he was with the Titans in 2021 for half the season. On November 10th, 2021, Barkley was signed by the Carolina Panthers off of the practice squad. He was waived on December 28th, just before the end of the season. Then on December 29th, the following day, the Atlanta Falcons picked him up. He was claimed off of waivers by the Falcons. He was waived on January. He was picked up on December 29th. About 5-6 days later, he was waived on January 4th and re-signed to the practice squad. His contract expired when the team season ended on January 9th. Then his second stint with the Buffalo, so he was with Buffalo in 2018, 19, and 20. Then he came back with Buffalo last season. But in 2018, 19, and 20, you got Shane and Dable over there, right? Familiarity. So last year, on March 21st, 2022, the Buffalo Bills signed Barkley to a 1-year contract. On August 22nd, the Bills' last season preseason game, Barkley served as the team's punter. So he can punt. He punted 4 times in the game, including a 53-yard punt. He was released on August 30th and signed to the practice squad the next day. He signed a future reserve contract on January 23rd, 2023, and was released on August 29th, 2023. So he's out there. If, and once again, you're not looking to bring in somebody who has like no idea. I mean, if you had to, you had to. But I mean, if you can bring somebody that has some familiarity, what you're trying to do, Barkley might be the guy. Would the Giants bring in another veteran such as free agent Matt Barkley, who played for Dable and the Bills? That's possible, though the longer they wait to do so, the less likely that will happen. In case anyone was wondering, the Giants have just over $4 million in salary cap space. They need to get them through the rest of the season. So Taylor is likely to going to be it if Jones can't go. Let's see here. Dable said he's a pro. He said of Taylor, he's done this a long time. Now once again, Tyrod, right? He's been there with the Bills as well too. He's played a variety of systems. He prepares every week like he's going to play. Anyway, he's a true pro, so he'll be out there today getting all the reps. Taylor was 14 out of 21 for 102 yards, 1 touchdown, and no interceptions in the preseason. Then, of course, we have DeVito. A New Jersey native, was something of a summertime darling for his gritty play against fellow second, third stringers. Absolutely. Dable said that the coaches have continued developing DeVito, who finished 43 out of 64 for 453 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions in the preseason. He did. I remember one of his interceptions. Was it a pick 6? He threw it right to the guy. That was a bad play. Bad play. But he shook it off. You learn from it, and you just forget that, and you move on. But I was impressed. I'm glad that they brought him back on the practice squad. Let's see. We're trying to develop him, even though he's on the practice squad. That's a position you got to spend a lot of time with, particularly in the early part of the career, trying to develop, because they're getting a ton of reps. So they're getting the show team's reps. But it's process of what we expect out of him in terms of preparing and learning the game plan information, going through the tape, spending extra time. He's done that since he's been here. Further complicating matters for the Giants is the offensive line. Given the unit's performance, it's highly unlikely the Giants will expose Jones to any risk of injury. But more importantly, with the offensive line continuing to ail, the Giants will likely again be without Andrew Thomas, John Michael Schmidt, Shane Lemieux, and Matt Parrott. And then once again, they've allocated practice squad elevations on the offensive line depth. It bears watching to see if the Giants finally make a move on the 53-man roster to add DeVito. Well, I mean, I mean, you can't go into the game obviously with just one quarterback. So if Jones can't go, right, you're gonna have to elevate DeVito, without question. It'll also be interesting to see if they wind up elevating like Jalen Thomas, or Jalen Manfield or Mayfield or whatever from the practice squad. But talking about practice squad, we signed Yodny Cajuste, right? I think he has to pass a physical, but if he does, he's on the practice squad now. Last season, or shall I say? I mean, he came from West Virginia. He didn't do too bad. Some of his numbers are not that unbelievably horrible. Let's see here, 2022. Now, last season here, with New England. I mean, he had 197 snaps. Oh, let's see here. He graded out a 65.7 altogether. His pass block was a 53.6, which is higher, I think, than anybody we had on the Giants' offensive line last week. His run blocking is a 72.4. It was just last season. Small sample size. His first season in 2021, he graded out a 55.7 with New England once again. So, I mean, he was, and I think he was let go by New England, and he was released by the Jets as well, too. So, let's see, on May 18th, 2023, Cajuste was waived by New England. So this season, May 18th, he was waived. The Jets, May 18th, he was waived by New England. 12 days later, May 30th, Cajuste signed with the Jets. He was waived, injured on August 8th, 2023. After going unclaimed, he reverted to the team's injured reserve list. Then he was released on August 17th. So he had a little bit of an injury there. But, I mean, once again, it's the same thing with the guys we have on our practice squad now, the offensive linemen. Once again, do I want this guy to come in and Cajuste and make a difference and be part of the Fab Five that we have up there? Oh yeah. Do I want him to do good? Yeah. Do I want him to be a Hall of Famer for the Giants? Absolutely. Do I want him to be an All-Pro? All this stuff? Oh yeah. But you also got to remember, usually there's a reason why he got waived, right? I'm not saying that, you can't find a diamond in the rough every now and then or something, but usually there's a reason why. If you got an offensive lineman and he's out there for several months, usually there's a reason why. I mean, because the offensive line is such a difficult, position to play. It's so valuable. As we see with the Giants, you get the possibility of getting injured is so great. If you're worth your weight in gold or whatever, you're going to be on a team someplace. So if we're getting these guys off the streets who aren't on a team, that's not a very good sign, right? Which brings me to my next guy, right? Let's not forget about Justin Pugh, right? He was out there, but he was coming back from an injury. So, right now he's not a long-term answer. He's 33. Hopefully, somewhere along the line, he'll get elevated to the 53-man squad. May not be for a week or two or whatever, but at least we have him there. But Lael Collins, now he's going to be, he might, if he passes the trying him out, the working him out. That doesn't mean, right? We brought him in, so that means you're going to sign him, right? No, it doesn't. Doesn't mean that. Of course, I mean like what happened with Pugh. They brought Pugh in. They're bringing Pugh in for a tryout. I'm cool. So I'm always trying to like check on the New York Giants, the news and whatever, any articles I can see. So Pugh came in. Okay, cool. All right, good. And then it was like crickets, nothing. And they're like, what's going on? Are we signing Pugh? Did we sign? Did he go? Did he offer him a contract? What's going on? It's like nothing. So like a week or whatever it was went by, then we brought him back. So could be the same thing with Collins. I have no idea. But he's gonna be a little bit. He's gonna want obviously a little bit of money, especially if he might want to put him in there as a starter. As I said, I think he had a 3-year, $21 million contract with the Bengals. So, these guys, obviously they want to get paid. 2022 to 2024, La'el Collins signed a 3-year, $21 million contract with the Bengals, including a $5 million signing bonus, $5 million guaranteed, an average annual salary of $7 million, baby. Yeah. Now the Cowboys gave Collins permission to seek a trade in March of 2022, and on March 17th, he was released with 3 years remaining on his contract. So the Bengals on March 20, 2020, Collins signed a 3-year contract with the Bengals, reuniting him with offensive line coach Frank Pollock, who had the same position with the Cowboys. He was placed on the non-injury football list with a back injury starting a training camp. So he had his back injury, but then of course in week 16, 2022, playing against the Patriots, he suffered in the first quarter a torn left ACL and MCL injury that ended the season. So he comes in, he's had some, a little bit of injury history here. But right, this was this last season here, 2020, yeah, last season. With the Bengals, he graded out a 57.9 according to Pro Football Focus. His run blocking grade was a 73.5. He had a couple bad games pass blocking. He played right tackle for the Bengals last season. But if we go back, all right, now I'm not talking 2022, but if we go back and look at 2021 with the Cowboys, he graded out at 80.2. His run blocking was 89.7. His pass blocking was a 74.3. 2019, he graded out at 86.4. 89.4 run blocking grade. So, those 2 seasons there, he was almost a 90 at run blocking. He was a 75.2 in 2019 as far as the pass blocking. Now, once again, he's coming off of an injury, so it might slow him up a little bit. But, he has been, certainly can be a productive tackle. He's 30 years old. Once again, that's one of those things you don't know what the Giants are going to do. Is he a stopgap? We're going to just try to get him in there for this season, put him on the practice squad, work him up, maybe bring him up to the final 53 just for this one season and let him go. You don't know. But it's nice to see that they're bringing him in. As I said, it's one of those things is that, are the Giants going to be sellers? Are we going to be buy? What are we going to do? Shane's still going out there and trying to bring guys in. He's trying to do the best he can. And we don't have a lot of money to spend. So, he's trying the best he can. And once again, these offensive linemen just don't grow on trees. There's not many. They're walking the streets. There's a reason why, right? All right, and finally, I did see this one here too. Good old JPP, right? Now, I'm not too thrilled about this here. I said, former Giants All-Pro, interested in NFL return. He says, I'm a free agent. He's not thinking about retirement yet. But the thing is, I'm not overly thrilled about this. Pierre Paul, JPP, confirmed that he believes he can still play in this league. The motivation to return for his 14th season, what's his motivation? Does he want another ring? Does he want to help the Giants out? Does he want to do this? Does he want to do? No. He said, I'm trying to reach 100 sacks, the defensive playmaker stated candidly. That's a goal I want. I haven't been given the opportunity. So it's like, I'm not too overly thrilled about that, because it's like, he has 94.5 career sacks, just 5.5 career sacks away. I think he only had 3.5 sacks. Was it 3.5 sacks last season? No, 3 sacks. He had 3 sacks last season. Let's see. He had 14 appearances with 3 sacks with the Ravens last season. So, in 14 games, he had 3 sacks. So, but But one thing I'm not overly thrilled about is that Giants. I mean, Azeez Ojulari. I mean, I love the guy. Can play on my team anytime. Great guy. Seems like a great locker room guy. He's always got a smile on his face, positive attitude. But all that. Your best ability is your availability. You can't make the club in the tub. All that stuff, right? The guy can't stay healthy. Boogie Basham, you're not getting much of a rush out of him. You're not getting a rush out of Hottie Ward, right? Whoever we got on the edge, we're not getting a rush out of those guys. Plain and simple. We like to get a rush out of Azeez Ojulari, but it seems like every other game he's getting injured. So if we're serious about maybe trying to make a push in the second half or whatever, we got to upgrade the pass rush. I mean, I really think so. And JP Paye wouldn't cost you a lot of money. As I said, once again, I'm not too overly ecstatic about the reason why he wants to come back. Yeah, because I just want to get 100 sacks. That's all. Yeah, I don't care about who I'm playing. I mean, that seemed like it wasn't a great answer. But we really, I mean, obviously we need offensive line help, and we could really get some pressure on the quarterback. So if JPP wants to come back, it'd be nice to see. I tell you what, wouldn't that be fantastic? I mean, we got Justin Pugh back, our 2013 first-round pick, and then we get JPP back, our 2010 first-round pick. Wouldn't that be weird? But we need obviously offensive line, and we need somebody on the edge as well too. I'd really like to see the Giants in this coming. I mean, it is what it is. If we let Adoree Jackson go, we're going to need another cornerback. So cornerbacks, good quality cornerback, you might have to go in the first round for something like that. But I'd really like to see the Giants really emphasize the lines of scrimmage, right? The trenches. Get somebody on the offense line, whatever. You get somebody on the defensive line. It's so tough because it's like there's other teams out there that have guys on their offensive line that are like 4th round picks, 5th round picks, and they're doing really good. Yeah, and the Giants get 1st round picks, 2nd round pick, whatever like that. And we either get injured or they're not panning out really well. I don't know if it's coaching, all coaching, some coaching, yeah, right? But I would really like to see the Giants, the defensive line, maybe the offensive line as well. So really, really try to emphasize that. I mean, because we're still getting run on. Having a hard time rushing the quarterback. We need some help on the edge. So I would really like to see the Giants, like maybe. I mean, you can get a decent edge rusher in the 2nd round. You're not going to get maybe somebody's absolutely fantastic, but you can get somebody who can do a decent job for you in the 2nd round. I would like to see the Giants do something like that. But well, guys, it's been 1 hour and 2 minutes of me just shooting my mouth off. Well, so whoever spent any time listening to me, thank you. If anybody spends any time watching the replays, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Mean the world to me. Thank you. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.